is very dangerous.
The Indian government recently announced a new set of information technology rules. It can now more strictly regulate social media content, digital news, and streaming giants.
Is very dangerous.
India is enforcing new rules that affect popular online platforms such as Netflix and Amazon and social media companies like Facebook and Twitter. The rules allow for greater government oversight of content on these platforms.
Is very dangerous.
For any content deemed harmful, these will have a chilling impact on a constitutional guarantee of freedom of expression and also privacy.
The digital landscape has given independent voices a free space to express themselves on a wide range of issues.
India is enforcing new rules that affect popular online platforms such as Netflix and Amazon and social media companies like Facebook and Twitter. The rules allow for greater government oversight of content on these platforms.
The Indian government recently announced a new set of information technology rules. It can now more strictly regulate social media content, digital news, and streaming giants. These platforms are expected to regulate themselves more and also set up a system to address complaints about their content. The government says it wants to prevent what it calls the misuse of these platforms.
Anybody who is a commentator, who makes a video on published information also is liable to these rules and regulations. So it is about controlling the narrative of what people are talking about.
Existing laws already apply to the digital space, and that the government is just trying to crack down on content it doesn't like.
The most important aspect of these regulations is the imposition of a particular section in the Indian Information Technology Act, which allows the government of India to issue orders to censor content. So they can block certain content for news and current affairs entities, which they did not have the power to do before these rules came about.
These rules give the government disproportionate powers, and that now the digital space for creators is shrinking, even when it comes to content like satire.
Satire is all about putting the facts, maybe rubbing people a little the wrong way. But unfortunately in India, sarcasm and satire is taken personally. So either we see ourselves drumming down our content, or we see ourselves fighting cases in courts, or we see ourselves spending some time in jail. But that's where we are headed.
The rules go far beyond that. And they also end up regulating entities that don't have a lot to do with this. For example, OTT platforms, which are not necessarily very closely connected with the rise of fake news or revenge pornography, like Netflix or Prime. Right. So these rules, they give the government a much greater level of control over social media intermediaries like Facebook, Instagram, even WhatsApp than the government exercised before. They give the government wide powers for issuing takedown orders, even more than was available with the government before. And in the event of these intermediaries not complying with the government's orders, there could be a range of punishments, including the intermediaries such as Facebook or Twitter, could be liable themselves for the content that's posted on these websites. Now, that's a very worrying development because we expect and we're concerned that this will cause a chilling effect on fundamental rights to speech and expression and the access to information to the citizens of India. What these rules have done essentially is that they've created a three-tier oversight mechanism over the content that is posted on OTT platforms and on digital news media platforms, where the first tier is these platforms themselves will have a grievance redressal mechanism. And in the second tier, while it is framed as a self-regulatory mechanism, where these entities will get together and they will form a self-regulatory body from amongst themselves, the government exercises a great amount of control over the second tier. Because the government retains final approval over the appointments that are in this self-regulatory body. And in the third tier, it's the government itself. The third tier is an oversight mechanism committee which comprises of officers of various ministries of the central government and is headed by the Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Now, what this three-tier mechanism that I've just described to you does is that it retains final approval and final say over what sort of content can be or cannot be hosted by OTT platforms such as Netflix and Prime or digital news media websites. Is very dangerous.